the dinner time and making the time to be here. And it's so wonderful to see so many both parents and students that are here this evening, and especially staff who we've dragged out. Today is really about giving you a lot of information. I apologise, there's not a lot of slides, but there is a lot of information contained in those slides. You would have noticed the new booklet that we have for the senior hand booklet, which I'll show you where it is in case you haven't gone there yet. A lot of this information is there, but tonight is really about providing you with information, and that starting point, as Jason has said, about the selection that you need for senior schooling under the new syllabus. There are some important changes which I'll go to. If you've had past students who have been in there, you will start to see some of those changes. If you know nothing about this, then this is your new normal, and so it will probably make more sense to you as we go through. But this, as Jason said, is just the first start. It's the introduction. We're starting it earlier because of the changes that we need to be able to do within the structure of our school, to be able to get the subject variety, the teachers in that, and to set all of our timetables to make it much more seamless and smooth for everyone, okay, and transparent. There will be lots of changes as we go through the year, so we will now to start. So thank you. Okay, the Queensland government has introduced a new senior syllabus. This will be available for you. This PowerPoint will be available for you. After this, we'll put it online for you, so you don't need to, memorise any bit or anything like that. But it will be there for you as a starting point to ask the questions. And our Year 11 students have already started it, so they're the first guinea pig students. You are the second lot to come off that guinea pig rank. The key changes. The introduction of this was done through QCAA about strengthening the quality of the program that's going to be delivered to Queensland students. It's a replacement of the overall OP with an Australian tertiary admission rank. You all get used to these acronyms, which is called ATAR, which is administered by the Queensland Tertiary Admission Centre, QTAC. For university entrance. The introduction of a common external assessment for students in each general subject, which occurs in Year 12, and a move to 2 semesters per year rather than terms. Oops. Okay. Is that where it is? Oh, sorry. The types of courses that students can take. There are 2 types of courses within the system. The first one is for general courses, which have a higher complexity to them, so they demand more, and an applied course which has a lesser complexity to them. For general subjects, students must complete Units 1 and 2, generally in Year 11, before they commence Units 3 and 4 in Year 12 to receive their ATAR score. That is similar to what we had before with the OP system, in that you needed to do in Year 11 the subjects and then go on in Year 12. The weighting of those subjects, though, has changed. The subjects for general maths and science subjects, there are 3 school-based assessments, so within a school situation, that are worth 50% of the students' marks. And then they sit one external assessment, which is worth 50%. The other one is that for other general subjects, other than maths and science, you have 3 school-based internal assessments completed within school, and they are worth 75% of your marks, and the external exam is worth 25% of your marks. So that's a very different change to what we have had. The external exam occurs in Term 4 in Year 12, at the end of your Year 12 study. And what does stay the same is that we still have with our QCE, Queensland Certificate of Education, which you get over both Year 11 and 12, you still need to accumulate 20 points in order to do that. So, what can students study? In the QCE, students are able to study a wide range of subjects, which is what Mr. Smith alluded to. There are QCAA general subjects. For those who have been in the other system, they're known as the authority subjects. For the QCAA applied subjects, they're the ones that were known as the authority registered subjects. Vocational education and training courses, school-based apprenticeships and traineeships, TAFE courses, Certificate 3 courses. The QCAA has made a change. Students used to be able to do Certificate 2 courses, which would be able to count towards their QCE. That is no longer the case. For a student in senior schooling, you need to have a Certificate 3 or above to be able to be included in your ATAR score. So that is a big change. Certificate 1s and 2s are generally now being advised to be done in Year 10. Okay, so that is a change. Head Start is going to be maintained, so students are able to do a subject or some work at university that counts towards their ATAR score, as well as certificates and awards, music examinations and Duke of Edinburgh, which students are able to do, and that counts. Students are able to study one applied subject to count towards their ATAR in that mix. Students need to study a minimum of 4 general subjects to count towards their ATAR. So you have to have a minimum of 4 general subjects and an ATAR. With your ATAR score, students need to have, they take the best 5 results that count towards your ATAR. Students are able to take one Certificate 3 or above course to count towards their ATAR. Studying English is compulsory, so you have to study one English course to be able to get your ATAR in Queensland. Students at Concordia will undertake 6 subjects because 5 are seen as being needed for your ATAR. That extra subject can be used, your best 5 are taken, so that gives you just a little bit of a buffer so that you're able to use, you may need to use that subject, you may not, but it actually gives you just a safety net to be able to do that. Subject changes are not encouraged or as easy to organise under the new syllabus. And that's why we're starting this process earlier than what we have in the past. And normally we would have parents coming out probably the start of term 3, and we no longer can do that because we're actually changing the way that we deliver the information to better be able to equip students to make the correct choice, and for you parents to be sure that this is the discussions to have both with teachers and teaching staff and your child about what is the best course to take. So subject selection becomes incredibly important and something that we can't really maintain to make changes in between. We can make changes right at the start, but changes are very difficult under this new system to be able to occur. So making the right decision beforehand has taken much more of a priority. In 2020, in Year 11, for students at Concordia, we have a list of subjects which are in the handbook, but I've just put them up there for you. So we have our Christian studies, we have English, and their English falls under both general and essential English. And then we have maths, which is general, essential, maths methods, specialist maths, and a short course numeracy. Both the essential English and essential maths are something a little bit different. They are an applied subject, they're internally assessed, but the Queensland Government, QCAA, are actually going to give one assessment task, which is internally sat, but it's given by QCAA. So it's a bit like an external exam, but it's not. Okay, so they're making those two slightly different. The others that we actually have quite a wide range of subjects. We introduced a number for this year. We introduced a lot more applied subjects, which we had not had in the past, and they're across a lot of disciplines, so that students may be able to, because you're able to use that one applied subject to count, if you're wanting to go to university, then you've got more of a range to be able to choose from. So we've got, there are the subjects, accounting, I won't list them out. The one to let you know that is the newer subject is the agricultural practices, which replaces the science in practice that we actually have offered this year. So that's a new focus, so you might want to look at those. I've just done the asterisks with applied subjects, and then we've got two school assistant subjects, and one is done with the EALD with Mrs. Judy Burgess, and we have learning enrichment under the guidance of Ms. Rena Scott Wilson. So they're still there. And students can select those. I'll come to questions at the end, for sure, because there's a lot of information here for you. Where to go to help? Okay, so I've just given you a whole lot of information there, and it's gone in one ear and out the other. But there's a lot of help here, and that's why we're starting that process, so that you can ask the questions that you need that are going to be right for your child. As we said, there is a lot of variety in the way that students can go towards their further education. It's not just all about university, although doing an ATAR and the change to the general subjects is more about, that's about going on that university pathway, but that's not the only pathway to go. And if such students do take even a different pathway going to university, it doesn't have to be a straight linear line. Students take a number of ways to get there, depending on what their interests are and what they ultimately would like to do. Because we don't all need to go to university. The world doesn't need them all. Information for parents. The QCAA website is a really good, I'll show you afterwards, it's a really good way to go. There's both a student portal and a parent portal, and there are a lot of questions on there that you can actually get information about. The leaflet that you have been given is the one that is available, and that has a lot of information that I have just said to you in there, and that quite succinctly puts things into a clear language for you as a starting point to say, what on earth was she talking about? I have got no idea what these are. Okay, so that sheet is there for you to have a look at, and tonight to ask questions, because I'm sure that there is a lot that you would still need to be checking. We recommend that you visit this site, both students and yourself, and have discussions with your child about those processes and about those subject selections, because there is a lot of information on there. The QCAA are updating that regularly. There's a lot of information on there to help and assist you and to guide you in this process. We recommend that you attend, if you're wanting to go to university, you attend university open days. They sort of start in term 2. They go term 2 and term 3. And so there are a lot of them, and a lot of universities both in Brisbane, locally, and both in interstate are available. With the ATAR, one good thing about the ATAR is it's the same as students across most of Australia other than the Northern Territory have an ATAR. It means that students can apply to any university as they have before, but it makes it easier because we're under the same system. So, and you can also look for international. So if students are looking for courses and it happens to be that the course that they are wanting at a university is in South Australia, then you start looking at what's available from them. So it gives you a broader and a wider range to be able to select the course that might be available for you. We also recommend that you make contact with Leah Bowes, who is our school career advisor. That is a new role that Leah has taken up this year. Is Leah here? Yes. Ah, there's Mrs. Bowes. Want to just stand up, Mrs. Bowes? Sorry to make you stand up and look like a pumpkin. There you go. But we've started that as a way to be able to provide information about careers and the choice for careers for students, which the school hasn't had before. The other person is Joanne Tesmark, who is our Future Pathways Coordinator. And Joanne does a lot of the TAFE and the internships and the apprenticeships and certificates. And that's that sort of person that is really handy for you if that's the pathway that will be available for your child to actually go to. and go through. We also recommend that you attend the Futures Expo, which will be held here on May the 9th. We're getting a lot of the universities in, we're getting TAFE in, we're getting a lot of the people who organise the internships and apprenticeships and certificates. They're all going to come here to school. You don't have to go a long way to actually find them. So if they're going to be here, they'll be here to ask questions. Again, that's going to be a really important time for both your child and yourself to ask questions about, well, what does this mean? Where do we need to go to? The important information that we're setting up as a transition for your child is to be able to assist them with this process is we've got a work readiness program. Has that finished, Leo?
It's tomorrow.
Tomorrow. So that's happening tomorrow. I've got completed. I'm a day out. So that's in preparation for them to give them a bit of getting ready for that work process and how that is. They're going to participate, as you would be aware of, in the work experience program. That's really important. They will complete the My Path process, which used to be the old set plans. If you have had any of your children go through before, it's a new way to be able to go on, and it's a careers advice that's been set up with on the government from QTAC, the people who are these people. That have been able to do that, and it gives the guidelines of what for students about what they like doing, and then it gives them possibilities of careers that they might want to be able to do. So that will also happen. Have they completed, Leah, or they're going to complete the short course?
They'll complete that by the end of the year.
Yeah, by the end of the year, so they will. I've got completed. Right, a bit early. They will do also in their study sessions in Year 10, working on, are you all working on this? You can all nod. Yes. The short course, which is in careers, which is worth 1 point to their QCE. The important bit to give you at the end is that before you leave, you need to take with you one of both of these. One is a letter explaining part of the process. The other is the first expression of interest from students about what subjects they might be interested in. This gives us a guide because each cohort of students might like different areas. And so we need to get from the students what are the subjects that they're actually interested in. And so from this form, which is due back on the 17th of May, which comes after the careers night, it's quite a way off, but because we've got April in there and time for you to talk with people, it is quite a way off, but we've put that in there. That's when this first expressions of interest is due, gives you lots of time to talk and find information that you need. Then we'll take that and then we move to subjects being allocated on lines, and then we start the more formal process. There'll be interviews in that time. They'll be interviewing with Leah. They'll also be interviewing with myself and with Jason and other people around to make sure that the subjects that students have selected is going to fit in with, one, their pathway, and two, their ability to be able to get what they would like to in that pathway. So that is that. Okay, then I'm going to open it up to general questions. And then really the formal part of the boring bit is me talking at you, which is not particularly very good teacher pedagogy, is sort of finished. That really just gives you the context and the framework about the new changes. I am certainly willing to and open to answer any questions in regards to that. But now it's a time to actually meet and talk with the people who you really need to talk to, which is about the teachers that are here teaching the subjects this year, and for you to ask questions about, is this subject going to be right for me? What does it involve? What do we do? And you can start to gauge that so that you can make an informed decision about what type of pathway you would like and how that starts to look. We'll have the HPN arts people will be in this first door that's in here, which is an E4. We've got, in E5, we've got English, HAS, EAD, EALD and Learning Enrichment. We've got Technology and Business and Christian Studies together, and then we've got Maths and Science in E7. So you can go and ask the teachers who are here the important questions that you would like. Okay, learning, champing a bit, go.
What's HAS and EALD?
So HAS is your humanities subjects, so that is history, legal studies, geography, so that's humanities and studies of society. Yep.
And on the previous...
And EALD is English other than English as your second language.
Yes.
Yep.
On the other slide it said the short course they get 1 QCE point. I thought, is a QCE going to ATAR? So is it 1 ATAR point?
No, QCE is completely different to ATAR. QCE is your certificate to say that you have completed your senior years of schooling, and so that you get 20 points for. Your ATAR is used towards going to a university course and your placement in that university course that you would like.
And you must get 20 points to be considered finished.
For QCE, yes. For your certificate at being at school in Queensland. They're two different things. Yes?
Wendy, two questions were made. Are all the subjects definitely being offered, or does it depend on numbers?
It will depend on the student cohort, and as we put a disclaimer in our subject handbook, they're the subjects that we have offered this year. Depending on what students actually choose, we will know once we get this first expressions back what subjects students actually want to do, and then we will put those subjects onto lines for students to select. At this stage, I don't see why they wouldn't, but I don't know until we get that first lot of data in.
Second question, Certificate 3 in Duke of Edinburgh, are they worth anything towards ATAR or just QC?
Yes.
And what are they worth?
Don't know, because they haven't given us that information yet. I'm sorry, I just can't tell you. All they've told us is at the moment that they can be used towards ATAR, but how they're actually going, how QTAC are going to say that a Certificate 3 in hospitality is the same as a Certificate 3 in construction, I have no idea. The Duke of Edinburgh Award can be used at the moment for an OP, but what weighting that actually gets for the ultimate, the end of the final result, I don't know at the moment. That will come clear at some point of time. Any other general questions? Because I know people are getting restless and you want to go and do the most important thing. The other thing before you go, because I'll be here and you can ask any questions you like, I don't want to hold everybody up if we've got a few, is that there is coffee and tea and biscuits over in the Year 12 Common Room. Please go and help yourself, grab a coffee and a cup of tea, and then you can go and meet the teachers. Mr. Hodder.
Is it true that you cannot get a QCE without a pass in English?
There is a literacy and a numeracy component that you must tick off. And it depends on what that actually looks like. So you do need to get a literacy and numeracy tick.